What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel, Sports, Life, and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Koppel, YouTube's #1 couch detective, and I'm ready for the news. And here recently, Biden announced that the Ukrainians will be receiving F-16s. At this point, the only thing left to give the Ukrainians is a nuclear weapon, an aircraft carrier, and 100 Negroes. I mean, they have given the Ukrainians everything you possibly can give a country to help them fight off the Russians. Now, on the screen, you see all my videos. I've been covering the Ukrainian war since the very beginning. I got video after video on this, and one thing to me, that became apparently obvious in the beginning is that America wanted this war. America made sure this war happened. And America's doing everything to keep this war going. Now, you might ask, how do you know that and why? Because America strategically placed all of these weapons, missile defense systems in all of these different countries that had become part of the EU and become part of the United Nations. And all of these countries, they're strategically placed right up against Russia. And they knew that eventually, that once they began speaking out loud about the Ukraine becoming part of the EU, that Russia had no choice. So basically, they put them in a corner, boxed them, and then made sure that they had no choice but to fight. And that's basically what happened. And the military-industrial complex have their hands all the way in this, based on the simple fact, all of these weapons that we use, in America, that are designed and sold, have to be used. There's no doubt about that. But let's take a look at this clip.
Moran traveling with the president of Hiroshima tonight.
Today, a senior administration official tells ABC News that President Biden has informed the G7 allies here that the United States has agreed to allow Ukrainian pilots to begin training to fly American-made F-16 fighter jets. This move represents a major reversal for Biden, and a wish fulfilled for Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, who has pleaded for F-16s for months.
We have artillery. Yes. Thank you. We have it. Is it enough? Honestly, not really.
The F-16s, the backbone of the U.S. air fleet, can...
And I don't know if you know this about Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. He's a former actor / comedian. And that's what that giggle was all about. These people, a lot of this stuff is so orchestrated. And for a comedian to be the president at the time of this war is actually laughable. But it just goes to show how a lot of these things are puppeted by Western powers. And why Russia, from their perspective, had no choice. But if you're America, you're going to do what you got to do. You're a superpower, a major empire on the planet, the major empire on the planet. And you're going to do what you got to do to corner off your enemies. And if you're the Russians, you're going to do what you got to do to stave off being completely surrounded.
Twice the speed of sound, drop bombs on ground targets, and fire air-to-air missiles. Ukraine believes these planes provide a distinct advantage in the skies, enabling them to shoot down incoming cruise missiles and fighter jets, fending off Russia's punishing air assaults. But up till now, providing F-16s has been a red line for President Biden, reluctant to provoke an unpredictable escalation from Russia. Still, in a February interview with David, Biden did leave the door open just a crack.
Even President Zelensky continues to say what he really needs are F-16s.
Let me say this. When they did this exclusive interview February 24th, they 100% knew they were eventually going to give the Ukrainians F-16s. This was basically a filler. This is why on February 24th, this is why they made sure to do this interview with Biden. Now, obviously, Biden is 177 years old. He's at his wit's end. I don't think the American people want him back in office, but they got everything they can get out of old Biden. They really have. And this war is one of them.
Will you send F-16s?
Look, we're sending him what our seasoned military thinks he needs now.
You don't think he needs F-16s now?
No, he doesn't need F-16s now.
Is that a never?
Listen to the, I love the wording. Does he need F-16s? No, he don't need them now. It's like you making hamburgers outside and you in the house and you prepping the burgers and they be like, you need the spatula? No, I don't need it now. But you know 100% for a fact, I'm eventually going to need the goddamn spatulas once you get to cooking the burgers. You see the wording? How tricky a lot of this shit is on television? That's why I say a lot of this stuff is orchestrated and people have to start opening their eyes to see that when things are coming downhill, they always give you a small preview of what's happening. And this was most definitely a small preview of what was happening.
Look, first of all, the idea that we know exactly what's going to be needed a year, 2, 3 from now, but there is no basis upon which.
And he said a year, 2 or 3 from now. Boy, he was talking about more like 2 or 3 months.
There's a rationale, according to our military now, to provide F-16s.
But you're not ruling it out.
I am ruling it out for now.
What a devil. I am ruling it out for now.
No longer. The administration now says they hope Ukrainian pilots can begin training in the coming weeks. As for who will actually provide the jets tonight, that remains an open question. And administration officials saying our coalition of countries participating in this effort will decide when to actually provide the jets, how many we will provide, and who will provide them.
So let's bring in Terry Moran with us live tonight from Japan. And Terry, President Zelensky, as you mentioned there, traveling there this weekend to meet with G7 allies. And of course, the major question we pointed out at the top tonight, where will the F-16s come from?
You're right, President Zelensky arrives here this weekend. He'll meet with President Biden on Sunday. What a moment. Zelensky coming to this place as he faces down an enemy, openly issuing nuclear threats. And as for those F-16s, American allies will provide them with U.S. approval. David?
Terry Moran leading us off on a Friday night. Terry, thank you.
But you know, I just want to go over that clip. And the thing about it is that we don't know how this thing is exactly going to end. I don't know how long the Russians can sit back while America feeds these people every single thing to destroy them. But we will get a front row seat to it. There's no doubt about that. Because America has given them everything from Patriot missile defense systems to drones to ammunition to guns to tanks to now fighter jets. F-16 fighter jets. Look, I know that we are in the stealth age and you have F-22 Raptors and F-35 stealth jets, but the F-16 is still one of the best jets on the planet. There's no doubt about that. So handing this shit over to the Ukrainians is, you know, eventually, when does Russia take this as a declaration of war from the United States? Unless, like some people might think, that all this shit is orchestrated and they want all of this shit happening. And they all in cahoots. But nevertheless, I don't think the Russians are directly in cahoots with America, but you never know. But I know one thing. Taking it on face value, it's only a matter of time before the Russians take this as a direct declaration of war against themselves from the United States. But this has been Sports Life and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Koppel, YouTube's #1 couch detective. I'm here for the news. Hit that like. Hit that subscribe. I just took your ass. They giving the Ukrainians everything except 100 Negroes ride. Peace.